This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
You know, occasionally on this show, you don't see the text messages that we receive, Frank.
No, I protect myself.
A filtering system takes place. But one of the things that
Can I say I'm eternally grateful for you two guys for taking the bullets.
It's all right.
Nice.
One of the things that we filter out is what I would call accidental to the radio station text messages that seem to be for someone else. So pick you up at B&Q at about 3, okay? And I think I'm not going to B&Q. It's very unlikely this is meant for Absolute Radio.
Yeah.
We've just received one from 511, which is strangely appropriate for us. It says, talk later, ?
Oh,
That's it.
I suppose that wouldn't be a bad name for a radio station.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Talk Later FM. And it goes on through the night. Say it starts at, say, 10 o'clock at night and just goes through the night for, insomniacs, burglars, people who are up late.
Anyway, 511, if you are listening, which I suspect not, we will talk later. And now. We'll do it all.
Yeah, I'd love to know what they were going to talk later. Does that sound like a positive talk later? Anyway, talk later, or let's talk later about it. I can't face it now.
Oh, yes. The tone is always talk later, isn't it? It's the fine syndrome.
But that's because
what I've said many times. There should be stage directions on texts, and then we would know where we were working. Oh, I'm just having a bit of a scratch. It's all
I have a rule that, Frank.
Oh, yeah.
Which is never have any emotionally significant conversations via text.
Really?
I
God,
pretty
I've
much
broken that.
Oh, I haven't. I don't really argue on text.
Oh.
I don't think I ever have.
No, but there are other emotional conversations other
Not
than
really.
arguments.
But I just mean in terms of never raise the stakes on text.
Uh-oh.
Pick up the phone if you're going to do that.
Yeah,
mistakes
I
I've
think
made.
I don't know if that's commonly observed. Anyway, there you go. I saw a great thing on, speaking of the internet, which we weren't really, but
nearly.
I was talking to someone about the former Page 3 model Lucy Pinder.
Yeah.
I've discussed her before on this chat because, her ambition, as I
She was
explained
less
to you.
Page 3, she was more sort of
Well, she was
loaded
definitely
nuts.
Page 3 though, wasn't she?
I think she was more loaded nuts, but anyway, as you were.
Okay, well, you get the kind of...
I get the gist.
You get the career trajectory.
I do.
Yeah.
And I told you I worked with her once and asked her ambition, and she said it was to hold a chimpanzee.
I love that.
Yeah, which I respected her for.
I respect.
I was telling someone this story, and they didn't really know who Lucy Pinder was. So I Googled her, and I got a page. There's a website that just does relationships. So you look up a famous person, it tells you who they've been out with.
Oh, yeah.
And she went out with Chris Evans, not you having a good time, Chris Evans.
No,
but Captain America.
Yeah.
And did you know that? Emily
I'm not
shocked.
sure I did.
thought Emily might be ahead of me on that. So it says two listings for her. It says Lucy Pinder, partners, and it says Chris Evans, brackets, American actor, and then it says Daniel Hooper, brackets, person. Ouch! That's like being sort of private in the army of celebrity boyfriends. I felt for that guy.
Person.
Yeah.
It must be difficult if you're like post-film star and you're just going, you treat me like I'm just a person.
Yeah. It
could have been worse. It could have said civilian.
Oh, yeah.
Still, you don't want to pinder to a former... you don't want to pinder to a... I'm working on Panda.
To be Panda?
I'm working on Panda, you see.
Keep working on that one.
Yes, no, I wasn't happy with it. I don't know. If she was more current, I think people would be more alive to the electricity of the name.
Yeah.
But I I want to talk to you about electricity as well. Do you remember Chargergate last week?
Oh,
your
Charger Gates.
Yeah, well,
sounds like a horse scandal.
Yeah, well, I've in King Arthur's court. Well, I've made a remarkable scientific discovery. If there's anyone with any interest in science, gather ye round the radio.
You won't be listening
for the next bit.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Yes, so last week, regular listeners, regular readers will know that my phone wasn't working, and so I couldn't get an alarm to wake me up to come to the show, which was a very anxiety-creating moment. Last night I plugged the phone into the same charger and I watched the battery bit where it says battery in the corner start to pulse like a heart. and yeah, really, you used to get like a lightning strike.
Good analogy.
Yeah, it was pulsing like that, and then the charge, it said like 75% charge when I put it in, and then it said 74% charge, 73%. And the so-called charger was on charging.
Oh.
So it was... If there's anyone who...
It's literally the opposite of his job.
Exactly the opposite. I mean, it was sucking the electricity out of it. I mean, it was weird.
I know it's a cliche at the moment, but you want to say to it, you had one job, mate.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you're doing the exact opposite.
To charge. But if anyone can explain
don't
that...
respond.
Sorry, I'll deal with this temporarily. Was it the fault of the charger, or was it just depleting anyway?
No, but it was going at a rate of knots, and it doesn't normally do it. The charger has somehow reversed its role. It's a sort of, double agent.
The rogue charger.
And now it's taking electricity from my phone and putting it into the grid. It's a grid thief.
Do you think it's an eco thing? They're thinking we could power some machines by
it's a dangerous
phones.
What if I plugged in my iron long lasting before I went to sleep? I don't think they still use those, but
thankfully
you know what I mean.
that's still on the generator that you've got in the spare room, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think
hard to sleep with that in the room. Honestly. Look, if anyone can explain it, I'd love to. I've never seen such... Watching your phone just lose... It was like, when Dracula bites into a young woman's neck and they steadily become paler and...
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that. Just saying.
May I mention, we've had some lovely correspondence re your show last night, Frank, at the Garrick.
That's quick. That's topical.
I know, they get in touch very quick. And I should say, Alan and Sarah, the producer, and I went to see our esteemed leader last night ourselves.
Whee!
And, hang on, I haven't told you what we thought.
Had that feel. That was the vibe.
I mean, I'm not going to say you stormed it. I'll say you Stormzy'd it. Stormzy Daniel'd it. You did. It was an extraordinary response. I mean, you brought the house down. What a show.
Can you not say that in a West End theatre?
It's bits start falling off
a couple of times. I mean, I have a few jokes ready. If the ceiling falls in.
That's a good idea.
Our experience was, it's nice because we get to hear the comments, much the way we do on the show, Frank.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
We feel them. I hear people, and it's nice. And Pierre Novelli,
I'm getting
support.
Nervous just the idea of it.
No, I won't share those with you. I've been in this game long enough, dear. He got some lovely comments.
He did. I overheard a woman behind me say that she would go and see his show at a future point. That was nice.
Yeah.
That's a good
But
sign.
unfortunately, I banged my head on the seat in
I forgot
front.
that.
I leant forward.
What did you assume? Brace position?
Yes,
I
but
did.
too quickly.
I'm not going to lie, I was lurching for a Malteser.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've all done it.
But I leant forward and I misjudged. And I came up and I looked at Alan and the producer and I said, you can't see anything there, are you? And you know what Alan's like, Frank? I mean, you could have your hair on fire and say, you look a bit hot.
Yes.
So I knew when I saw his face.
A calm bedside
he said,
manner as a doctor.
You've got a very big lump. I can see it forming.
Right.
It was huge.
think yourself lucky because they used to have ashtrays on the back of those seats. Remember those little ashtrays?
No, I used to use them.
They could have holy water in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could have been much worse.
That's when my parents stopped going to the theatre when they stopped smoking.
Yeah, I can't see anything now. And those really
Alan gave
rubbish...
me some Sprite.
You know those very, very rubbish binoculars that used to be about 20 pence? And it was like you could see less with them.
Yeah.
Absolutely hopeless. Well, that's...
Guess what? I was so proud of you because you did so well. I stood at the end. Did you know that?
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, dear.
I know. I couldn't help it. I got excited, and then I thought I'd better sit down.
No, that was nice of you, but it didn't catch on.
Well, you had left the stage at that point. They thought I was just a bit unwell.
I had one embarrassing thing this week where my marketing department send me these... I have to OK quotes for the posters. So you get things like... there's the King of Stand-Up and Comedy Masterclass, and I have to say, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay with those. Oh, God. It's like being Caligula.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We should say, or I should say, it's as it is my birthday on Tuesday. I was, and it's also Faze, who's the assistant producer on the show. So there was lots of talk about sign Faye's card on the way in, and I sort of assumed that Faye was going to get this weekend for her birthday celebration, and I was going to get the next one. So, as they say in after dinner speaking, imagine my surprise when I got in and there were some lovely gifts. So there was poetry books from Emma, can never go wrong. From Emily, rather. Who's Emma? I can never go
wrong. Last night.
Oh, yeah, she was in the front row.
Oh, yeah. She's been in touch, actually.
She wasn't quick enough to get me poetry books since then, which is brilliant. And I got a... I'm going to tell you the whole lot now.
These left a lasting impression.
Don't do the whole lot.
No, I'm trying to do what order. You know, they say open them in that order.
Yeah.
I don't know if you should do one of them, is what I'm thinking about.
I think you should
wait
go
until
to
we've done it.
Yeah,
I think I know.
It's an event.
I think I know which one you want to talk about in great
Come on.
detail.
I got a hamper from Absolute, which is very lovely, sort of top Fortnum and Mason.
Top of the range.
Yeah.
Top end.
And then a beautiful Bob Dylan notebook.
Yeah.
But best of all, I have to say, I got a Venerable Bede sweatshirt, which I can't... No, it sounds like...
There'll be people Googling that thinking it's a brand.
No. The Venerable...
like Fruit of the Loom.
Yeah.
Venerable Bede was a monk... who wrote... it's what we know... Most of our Anglo-Saxon history is from a book that he wrote, an ecclesiastical history
Smoking
Britain.
hot.
Of course
And
he did.
he lived in Wearmouth in the northeast.
Beg your pardon?
And
You heard.
I went to Bede World recently, which we spoke about. But he's a central figure. I went to visit his tomb in Durham Cathedral, and now I have the sweatshirt. So
When you say the sweatshirt, this isn't official merch.
no, but I'm guessing it's it's probably the only one.
Well, we had
They didn't have them at Bede World. Let's put it that way.
No, we did have to ring up and say, and when the man said, "What do you want printing on it?" and we said, "Bede Venerabilis."
Yeah, which is what it says on his tomb.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we've put an epitaph on there. Lovely.
Yeah, but oh man, I was so happy with that. It's
I'm a
brilliant.
bit worried about Bede World hearing this and getting litigious on us.
I don't, they don't own Bede. Nobody owns Bede. There's
All right.
The Bede brand is...
Nobody puts him in there. Oh, they have.
No, but yeah, exactly. So, but that, lovely. And,
Glad it went down well.
yeah, really well. Also, I was thinking just...
What do you think of Faye's presents? Do you think they're a bit selfish in some ways?
Well, Faye's presents were a bit earringy.
then she got the cake stand
And
to
then,
encourage her to make us cakes.
She occasionally imagine if it's your birthday as well and you buy someone a cake stand, the size of a hint in that. Because Faye is a baker, and so Yes. What do you call those revolving? I want to say Aunt Sally. You actually call it a turntable.
No,
It
the Lazy
confused me for a
Susan.
moment this morning, but it is.
What's the
known as a
Lazy
turntable.
Susan?
A lazy Susan is if you sit around a table and you can spin it round so everyone can reach and serve themselves.
And they died out, didn't they?
Still alive and well in the Chinese restaurant community in central
And
London.
it is, we should say Happy New Year to all our Chinese listeners.
Yes.
And also, happy burn night to all our Scottish. Let's just say happy Chinese burn night to everyone.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
No, don't do that.
So, has anyone explained my weird...
We have had that. Before we do that, though, I would like to say that I very much enjoyed your stand-up comedy show
Thank you,
last
darling.
night, Frank. And well, I felt like you had said that it was good, and people might be thinking, "Oh, it sounds like Alan's a bit lukewarm." But not only am I not lukewarm,
That would have been a good stage name for you, though.
lukewarm.
Lukewarm.
That would be great,
Yes.
actually. Not only was I not a tough crowd, but very unusually for me watching a stand-up, you made me laugh before you got to the stage. I was laughing at the programme notes.
Oh.
I got lols. You got lols from me on the programme notes, and I'm the person who tried to put people laughing out loud when reading into Room 101 when I performed on that.
There you
He
go.
was laughing so loudly. I said, "Oh, what's that?" And you know when you ask someone what they're laughing, they're reading something, Frank, and they go, and you say, "Oh, what's that?" They go, "Oh, nothing, it's fine."
Yeah, I did exactly the thing that I hate.
And I thought, "No, come on, mate, share." And I said, "Oh, what is it?" He said, No, it's okay, it's okay. It's nothing very funny. I don't know.
Well, it's. They said to me, "Shall we have a programme?" My sort of marketing people.
Associates.
And I said, "Oh no!" I said, "Programmes are for people like, I don't know, say Russell Brand, where people want to look at pictures of him,
Right.
his fans.
Really?
Nobody wants to look at pictures of me. Do you know what I mean? So I said, there's no point in that." And then they said, well, you could write something. And then we agreed to make it free. And then I'd just write it, basically. And I was happier with that.
It's great.
But you know what I mean? When you get massive pictures, like, it won't be 9 pages because that, I think, is physically impossible. It has to be even. But you get like 12 pages and it's just big pictures of the person.
Yeah.
What's the point in that? What's the point?
Good point.
But good. That's one of the first reviews I've had of the actual
The programme?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
So that's
I really enjoyed it. In fact, I might read it again on the train on the way home. Really enjoyed
honestly,
it.
Frank, he loved that programme.
I
He was
really
all
did.
over the
I was getting
programme.
big laughs from me, the programme.
It was from start to finish. We'll stop talking about it
Yes,
now.
okay.
But you were incredible. If I was asked to give a quote for the poster, I would say the Persian carpet without the floor.
Oh.
Do you like that?
Interesting idea. In case you don't know, the idea is that when, I think everywhere in the Islamic world, when they make a carpet, they put a deliberate fault in because only God is supposed to be, only Allah is perfect, is the idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
I used to refer to it with, the slightly fallen lip on David Beckham.
Yes.
That was an example.
Very
lovely.
comparable.
Example, his beauty just slightly marred as a sign of respect.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
I say, Frank, we didn't come back last night, and
You didn't come back?
no, to see you.
Oh, okay.
First show visit.
Sorry.
Omar, your stage manager, tour manager, he was charming though, because he said, I think he contacted us and said, "Yeah, but if you want to meet up," which I liked.
What with him?
Yeah.
No, he's very social.
I loved Omar. I saw him come on stage. I was very excited.
Did he come on stage?
Yes.
God damn it! I didn't know that.
He does to change, to do a bit of sense.
Oh, does he
Mic
do that?
settings.
I'm sure there's no need to do that. He just wants to be on
Just wants a
stage.
bit of the glory.
I
The
pointed. I
interval.
said, "Oh, look, it's Omar."
Did he have his pink Doc Martens on?
He did. I noticed the Doc Martens. I felt like they were my family. Looking at, because I feel I know
The
these
gang,
boys.
because they've been on tour together.
Well, you know that traditionally people who work backstage on shows are supposed to wear blacks. You wear black top,
Yeah.
black everything, so that you're sort of hidden. I would say you went the exact opposite.
Yeah.
He's a colourful dresser, I think it's fair to say. Garish. Said it.
You said it.
And Pierre likes a bit of velvet.
Look, speaking of...
You know, Alan walked me to my car yesterday. Charming.
Oh, that's nice. Did you drive in?
Yeah, of course I did.
Well, to be honest, I thought that I was walking Emily to a bus stop or a tube station, and then she said, "Oh no, I'm parked." And then I walked her, and then we were chatting outside of the car park, and then I suddenly thought, I should walk you to your car. And then she went, "It's okay, I've done valet. I'll just get the man to walk me to it."
Oh, how lovely.
And then, as I was walking...
Different world, isn't it?
I mean, and then as I was walking down into the car park, I waved goodbye to you. I turned around, walking towards me, Andrew Ridgeley, with a suitcase, with a wheelie case, gave me a lovely smile.
Lives in there,
I smiled.
All this stuff in that suitcase.
Yeah, he lives in the car park. Just a tap.
I was going
cold
in.
water tap in the corner.
I was
NCP car park drinks are free. Oh man, it's a shame. I wasn't going to bring it up on air, but
it was a perfect end to an evening. It started with a bang, ended with a bit of a wham.
Did you say hello?
I did. They gave me a lovely smile. Hello. Nice. I said, "Oh, hello."
Oh, nice.
Anyway, the rest of it, none of your beeswax.
No, fair enough. I understand.
As you were.
Look, my son, who's 7.5, has got quite long hair.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen it. There's a massive curl, sort of Robert Plant style. And he's been told this week that he has to now have it tied back at school for hygiene reasons, which I don't... So what does that mean, even? Because you can still get nits if you tie your hair back.
Yeah.
And then, just a few days later, there's a Fitbit ban.
Right.
So some of the kids had Fitbits. There's kids' Fitbits that you can get for Christmas. And they've been told they can't wear them now. So I've spent, whatever it was, 80 quid on a Fitbit. And if you're not wearing it all the time, what's the point? So I'm thinking that they might be having bets in the staff room of what to ban next.
Oh, I love it when you settle scores.
You know, when I was
drunk on power. That's what it is.
That's drunk on power. When I was at school, they banned winkle pickers. That puts everything in its correct age. They did. They banned winkle pickers. Yeah.
My school banned those Grolsch bottle tops that Bros started a craze for on the shoes. Do you remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so
we had banned...
go on.
Oh, we had so many things banned. We weren't... Well, there was a very strict rule on heels, and they would measure with the tape measure.
No.
To see you didn't have a stiletto heel, as they called it. Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, look, on 8, 12, 15, if you've been involved with any, or your kids, with any unusual school bans, BANS, I'd love to know on the... in the sort of open brackets, what next, question mark, close brackets.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text our show on 8 12 15. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Okay. We've had such a lovely response from our fabulous loyal readers to your shout-out, Frank, for people sort of coming up with things that had been banned at their school.
Ah, yes.
You've lit up the switchboard.
Oh, you lit up the night last night.
Yeah.
And now, in a professional capacity...
Everybody light up my life.
Has everyone else stopped? Thank
Sorry.
you.
I don't join in.
I realised I didn't know anymore.
Pierre was part of this light.
Okay. I will pass that on.
Oh, he was fabulous.
Pierre is my support.
Very handsome. Can I say the girls gave him 5 stars on the handsome front as well?
Oh, really? What did I get?
Absolute stunner. Should we get on to the texts and emails?
Okay, let's do that.
021 Our school had a ban on chino pants, although certain teachers referred to them as Ginos, which, while the ban seemed ridiculous, it was always amusing how uncool the teachers were in our teenage eyes for not knowing the real name.
Well, that is... I remember being in a band and we were rehearsing in a sort of church hall thing, as bands do, and it was pretty loud, and this copper turned up. Someone had called the police and he turned up. And he was in the early days of community policing, so he was saying, look, lads, you know, I know, I'm all for you, you know, doing the music and all that. He said, how's it going? Have you done any jigs yet? And I thought, oh, no.
I mean, you know what I love about this? Is he probably went home and reassured himself, oh, they'll forget about it. How many years ago was that? Anyway, that was Phil from Preston. Just wanted to give him his propers.
Oh, yeah.
Back to you, Al.
558 has sent us a contribution that makes me think, oh, if I were a teacher, this is perhaps the sort of anecdote people would have about myself. Hi, Frank. We had a ban on marbles, and my teacher, Mr. Wright, I wonder if he's married.
Yeah.
A lot of women are looking for him.
They're waiting for him, certainly.
We had a ban on marbles, and my teacher, Mr. Wright, with a W, came out at break and caught us playing illegally in the corner. He smashed them all with a hammer. No risk assessment.
They're quite hard to break as well.
She had no risk assessment or safety goggles, I might add. And that's from Debbie.
That is... I wonder... Well, I want to know how many there were, how long it took.
Yeah.
Just that. Or was it done in rate? Was it done with cold calculation?
There are two missives I'd like to share from you, just from our online friends.
Right.
In the Twitter community. Ben Davis, banned from going on a school trip to Dorchester for the day. I like that he still sounds a bit angry about it. When I was 8, because I had a Beano T-shirt on. I never understood their reasoning for doing it. And he's got an emoji of the sort of thoughtful face with the hand stroking the chin.
Still thinking about it.
Still thinking. And then Piers O'Halloran has said, long hair was banned in our school. In the age of grunge, this was hard to police. Then someone found a picture of the principal with long hair in the 70s, and the fear of hypocrisy made him withdraw the ban.
That's good.
Just saying.
Excellent. So it's research.
If you can find a Tony Blair, what was his band? Tony Blair's band. Anyone remember?
Oh, that's a good
Our readers will know.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's that infamous picture.
Yes, there is a picture of him with long hair, but I have to tell you, he is not the headmaster at my son's school.
No.
Okay, not yet. I can't see the headmaster at my son's school with having had long hair. He doesn't look like a long hair type of a guy. No. But, you know, we've all
I get on famously with him, actually. Lovely man.
He loves you and you love him. That's what that will be like for all of us in heaven. Something to look forward to, kids.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had an update on the anecdotes that we were just discussing about the teacher smashing marbles with a hammer.
Oh, good. More info. That's what we need.
Yeah.
558 as Debbie has again replied, there was a good 20 marbles and he systematically did all of them, including the silver slivers, which were particularly prized.
Oh, no. I forgot they had names, of course, didn't they?
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, they all had different types of names for the different designs.
Oh, that was a level of detail I never really got involved in.
Yeah.
But, 09...
Probably busy skiing instead of playing marbles, weren't you?
How dare you? 095 has got in touch. Ugly Rumours was the name of Tony Blair's band.
Oh, yeah, very good work.
Oh, I feel so satisfied after that.
Yeah, Ugly Rumours. Because there was some jokes about, you know.
Yeah.
Can I say that Faye has just entered the studio with a tremendous chocolate birthday cake that she has made.
Yes.
It's absolutely... And it's got...
For herself.
It's got shards.
A birthday cake she's made for herself.
Well, I'll have some. I think we'll all have some. It's got shards of chocolate.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if they have... power cuts in the Arctic wastes, but what it looks like is Superman's Fortress of Solitude with the lights off.
Yeah.
Now, whenever you see in the comic Superman approaching his Fortress of Solitude, the lights are always on. I don't know if he has a caretaker who stays there, or maybe a lady that comes around from a nearby igloo who puts the heating on and that. No, he lets her know that he's coming back.
I think it's more like those hotel corridors where when he walks near to it, just it all lights up.
Oh, it might be. Yeah, like he might have burglar lights.
Yes.
I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, of course. But that's what it looks like. It looks like the power cut version of Superman's Fortress of Solitude, which makes me very happy for some reason. I don't know why. I love Superman. Still my favourite comic book hero, despite...
Is he really?
Yeah, I've got a little figurine of him on my bedside table. Yeah.
Sharon Parsons has been in touch.
Sharon Parsons?
Talking about what's been banned from school, petticoats. Oh, give my love to Queen Victoria, Sharon.
Because from Little Women.
It was on 500 a year. Because the sight of some lace showing below your skirt would attract the boys.
Yeah, I can see that.
Not in my school.
That might be tantalising. One thing you don't want when you're trying to do your maths is the rustle of lingerie.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I find.
It's a good rule.
It is, yeah.
Tony from Darwen in Lancashire, which I've done gigs in there. Darwen, D-A-R-W-E-N. Hi, Frank and the gang. We're the gang, Emily.
It's a lot better than it used to be.
What is?
It's evolved.
Oh, very good. We had a ban on Birmingham bags, the trousers made famous by bands like the Bay City Rollers.
They were called Birmingham bags.
Birmingham bags.
Well, even though they were tartan trimmed.
Yeah. That's what you call the mums in the playground.
No.
This will do well on the decade stations, won't it?
Oh,
Birmingham bags.
They'll love that. The tears will be running down their cheeks. Nostalgia. And we sang Shang-a-Lang and we ran away. I remember when the girls at my school had not all of them, but about 10 of them had been to see the Bay City Rollers the night before at Birmingham Town Hall. And they came into school the next day still hysterical. Just standing around and crying and stuff.
Were they?
It was really...
That's like me this morning after seeing you.
Yeah, well, exactly. But obviously that's more reasonable.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
Stop laughing.
Do you know it's our readers? They make me laugh a lot.
They're funny.
I
They're a
read
good
their
laugh.
text. For example, Sarah Johnson has been in touch to say that a French teacher at her school couldn't stand the smell of oranges, so banned everyone from eating them.
Sans orange.
And then Sarah remembers her rifling through bins, looking through evidence of discarded peel.
Wow.
She said, I hope she got the help she so dearly needed.
Yeah, that is... That'd be a difficult one to offer an excuse for, wouldn't it? The banning of oranges.
Yes.
Where is she now?
We've also got a parallel text in running, which is about your phone charger, which you worry has become less charge and more drain.
Yeah, my charger, and I've tested this, and also Sarah, the producer, tested it, that when you plug it in, it has a reverse effect, and you just watch the amount of charge in the battery go down. So the charger it's an anti-charger.
Well,
yes.
Aid from Shrewsbury has sent some, I think, potentially useful advice. Re Frank's phone. I always like a re. Re Frank's phone. If it's an iPhone, check for pocket fluff up the charger.
Check your own.
Same thing happened to mine. Microsurgery with a cocktail stick will sort it.
Really?
Yes, I've done. I blow into my phone quite regularly. Do you not do that?
Yeah, but I don't do that, no. But I always think the people at Apple are all too busy listening to what I might buy next.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hurt their ears. But I don't see why pocket fluff up the jack plug, whatever it is. The title, actually, of my new album. Pocket fluff up the jack would make it actually sock the I can see why it doesn't charge, but to actually anti-charge.
Well, 682 has another theory.
I think there might be something supernatural going on, that's mine.
Oh, I like that yours has to be special.
Yeah. Are you sure it was a charger, Frank? I have a charger that has a SIM card in it that is a listening device that needs charging, and then it runs for 3 days unplugged on the floor. Someone could be ringing your charger and listening to your conversations to get stuff for Heat magazine. Other magazines are available.
He has a charger that has a
I think it might be a she, although I don't know. They call themselves tuppence, which I'm not sure is... I don't know what gender that could be.
No.
There's a nickname in it.
Okay.
It sounds like it could be Lex Luthor.
You think?
For the amount of kit they've got. I've never heard of such a thing. I just want to emphasise, this is not a charger that doesn't work. It's a charger that's doing the opposite of what it is paid to do.
Yeah, which is a description of some gigs that I've had, but that's a different story.
Well, that's, exactly. We can't go there.
Make us laugh, and he seems to have depressed us. Shout out to Halifax New Year's Eve.
Oh, anyway. Come on. New Year's Eve's always a tricky gig.
Come on, darling. We've all got disasters in our back catalogue, if you know what I mean.
Ring out the old, ring in the new.
121, who's one of our regulars, his charger did exactly the same thing on Monday morning as yours.
It's
He said he was hungover to hell. He asked the IT department at work, and their advice was turn it on and off.
Oh, no.
Well, of course.
No, it genuinely was. He said it was the old favourite, and he said, hey presto, it was back on charge.
I wonder if that would work for the hangover as well.
Turn it on and off again.
Yeah. You know when people like die for 5 seconds or something on there? If you did that, I wonder if when you came back, your hangover would be gone and you'd generally be, feel very rebooted.
Well,
best not try it if anyone's...
My comedy bump to the head last night in your theatre, when I had the sort of bump on my head that a cartoon character has after a fight immediately. It's sprouted. And Alan Sprite advice worked wonders. So I really do recommend that. A cold can. It has to be Sprite, I would say, but other drinks. Cold Sprite on the head.
At home, if I'm injured, I tend to, if it needs an ice pack, I go for frozen peas. Oh, yeah, you can melt them around whatever the injury
that's a classic, yeah.
But Frank, I went to him because of the kung fu. I knew he'd know. Don't tell me that kung fuers don't get a blow to the head now and again.
Injuries are a way of life, I would have thought, for the mat.
He's come in with black eyes on many occasions.
Grapple fans. Yeah. It's a good man to have around in an emergency. I've often said that.
We've now got to the stage where I don't even correct you about what martial art I actually do. I'm just letting it all happen.
Well, I don't know the ins and outs.
It's fine.
We've got the general.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a little bit frightening.
Who cares? I don't care.
It is, yeah.
It's not.
But the guys use expert timing.
Oh, that.
Yeah, so relax.
Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
We were discussing your birthday sweatshirt with the venerable bead.
I should put a picture of that probably on social media.
Yeah,
but I'll
let's
do that
that
thing. When people put a charity T-shirt on over the top of their shirt, it looks a bit rubbish.
Tory MP at the school fete. I know.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. So I might not do it.
Very David Mellor.
Well, we caused a little confusion. 957 has said, "Dear Frank, Emily, and the venerable cockerel." Was slightly confused initially by the concept of a bead sweatshirt. They've spelt bead B-E-A-D there.
Oh, I see.
I had visualised you, Frank, wearing a garment entirely fabricated from the sort of beads that achieved popularity in the 90s as car seat covers.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Excuse me, I would say they're a 70s thing.
All self-respecting cab drivers used to use them.
Yeah.
And the image of you wearing a bead shirt is one that will stay with me forever. Dulwich John.
Yeah, well, I'm going out with this cabbie and he likes to sit on my lap. So I bought this bead.
It's fine in your community.
Yeah, I bought this bead garment that goes down to my knees, and it works a treat.
I mean,
also, when we go for a service, I wear a very thin plastic see-through smock.
Yeah.
You know that thing they put on so that they don't get your seat dirty? I love that.
Do you know...
thinnest plastic in the world.
I've often hankered after one of those bead seats.
Oh, yeah. I bet they'll still be available.
I've heard they're fabulous for your back.
Really? Is
That's
it true?
why they love them, the cabbies. But what worries me is that I can't... I mean, people will be hailing me down all the time.
All right, if you've got
Do
one
you
of
all
those.
Thinking I'm car service.
See, I'm not convinced that they do anything, those bead seats.
If any drivers are listening and could enlighten us, read the entire point of the bead seat.
Well,
Or do you
osteopaths.
think it's largely decorative?
I
I'd
think it
accept
was...
osteopaths as well as drivers, because they would surely know whether or not there's any point.
Yeah, there's often... there'd be osteopaths who drive, almost certainly.
Almost.
Are you suggesting that the purpose of them is decorative?
Well, I always think of that silver plastic thing that used to hang from the back bumper, which supposedly earthed the car, thus preventing travel sickness. And that never convinced me. I think there might be a lot of motoring hokum based on various things that do stuff and don't do stuff. And I'm
saying what is the... There's a difference between the car urban myth and their motives for buying that. Surely we can be very clear about these people...
I think the motive is if you drive for a long time, it stops you getting a stiff back. I think that...
You don't believe it?
Well, I'd love to find out. I'd also like to find out if that thing, that tail that hung, like a sort of tortoise tail that hung from the back of the car, stops anyone being travel sick. I am dubious.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Re-bead seats. I think it was in the first Terminator film where Arnie opened a car door, took one look at the bead seat and ripped it out before getting in. Enough said.
Oh.
Nick 656.
God, that rings a bell.
Ocean's 11 said at my school Ella van. So it's an Ella with Ocean's Ella then.
Oh, okay.
At my school, they banned string because Cat's Cradle got too competitive. 1941 school.
It's funny, but my child, Buzz, has recently got into Cat's Cradle. His grandma bought him a Cat's Cradle kit. It's basically string and or wool or whatever. But there's also a book with variations on Cat's Cradle that I didn't know existed. They've all got different names.
Right.
Like, the reduced output and names like that.
Oh, okay.
The Dark Peacock. And you form them differently, and he really got into it. So maybe there's,
Lovely gift. I remember our mutual friend Adrian Charles Frank said that his parents, I think not that long ago, got him a ball of string for his birthday. Yes.
How long was it?
I don't know.
That's what everyone needs to know, sure.
But I said, that's an interesting gift. You mean, the Croatian.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure how the two were linked.
Did it reach as far as Croatia? It was a way of, if you do come, make sure you find your way back.
Was there a cup on each end?
It's a great thing. I got string out the drawer last night to make a small parachute at home for a sort of physics experiment I was doing with my child. And there's something... getting string out feels like you're going below the surface of the modern world and going back to the very basics of life. String, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's Frank's string theory for any scientists out there.
Very fine.
082 has said, "Morning team, I was the first boy at my Catholic boarding school to get my ear pierced. This was not allowed, so I regularly got my earring confiscated. So I bought a box of coloured drawing pins and would put one of those in instead. When I was asked to remove it and it was taken away, I would simply replace it with one of a different colour. Very frustrating for the monks."
Yeah, I think things that are frustrating for the monks would be a long list.
Different childhood.
I didn't have the courage to have mine ear pierced, so I used blue tack.
Did you?
Yeah. It was all right.
Lovely.
It's all right.
I want to talk about something, boys, because I know, Frank, you often lament the passing of milk as a drink. Do you know what I mean? It's seen as it's virtually extinct. When you go to people's house now and you say, can I have a cup of tea? They go goats or soya.
Yeah, well, no, what it used to be, though, is I would get in from school and my mum would give me a glass of milk.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would no sooner think now of drinking a glass of milk than I would of drinking a glass of courgette juice.
Oh, yeah.
It seems a really weird... I have it in tea, obviously, but to have a glass of it seems so retro.
Yeah.
It used to be, but that's what's interestingly, it's become not so in China, where there is milk is going viral. People love a bit of milk, and that's because I believe
Is it rice milk?
No,
No.
it used to be dairy milk they like.
You'd
They're
think
getting
it'd be
into dairy milk.
No, they
Everything
love
would
milk.
suggest rice milk in China, wouldn't you have thought?
Yeah.
So I'm drinking rice milk in North
Yes.
London. The Chinese are drinking cow's milk.
World's gone upside down.
It
mate.
has
The world has
absolutely
gone upside down.
upside
They
down.
love the milk, and as a result of this, they've been appointing celebrity ambassadors, the sort of state dairies. And you may have heard about this, boys. We've had 2 royal endorsements. One, Peter Phillips, 15th in line to the throne, Princess Anne's son.
Peter Phillips.
Master Peter Phillips.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Emily just put some cake in her mouth whilst in the middle of an anecdote on the radio.
That's good.
Thank you.
It was an eccentric act mid-sentence, but
Don't cake shame me.
it's one of
It's not
those
the cake
moments.
shaming.
Well, you know when your hand...
Don't cake shame me.
Your hand goes a bit rogue and just starts doing stuff on its own, like putting
I thought
cake in your
maybe
hand.
you two might like to join in.
Yes.
Well, the thing is, I'm getting tremendous pressure to stop talking altogether from
Okay.
the producer. I like you're flying in the face of that advice, eating cake, talking about... I mean, it's gone
I
completely
don't like this
rebellious.
link. I feel a bit done in.
Well,
Go to the music.
Let's reboot.
Yes, let's.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radar. Absolute Radar would be a brilliant thing if there's another war. I'd be proud to be associated with that.
A brilliant thing.
Good moment.
You can text
Proud.
the show on 81215. Follow the show. I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Did I mention that? 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. It was beyond me that read. Simply beyond me. You have to accept some things are beyond you. So
We've been discussing.
yes.
We've been discussing Peter Phillips. Is it Peter Phillips?
Yeah.
who's-
Master Peter Phillips.
Is it Master?
Master.
15th
Well, I
in line
think-
to the throne.
I don't know where
15th.
that's come from, but when he was a child, I seem to remember Master Peter Phillips was used quite a lot because
Definitely.
he didn't have a royal title, and I think
Right.
people were slightly fascinated that there was someone in the royal family who didn't have a title and was at school was Master Peter Phillips.
But that was how, like, when we had to write thank you letters, if it was a child, we had to write them to Master.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Buzz still gets letters to Master Buzz Collins.
I love that.
Yeah.
I like the Master.
Yeah. I'm not going to
Phenomenon.
lie. I hadn't heard of this guy until this story was in the papers. I didn't know.
It's the son of Princess Anne.
You have heard
but
of him.
No, I haven't. I've never heard of him. I'm not on top of the 15th in line to the throne.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know
In
Princess
fact, it wasn't
Anne's
until
children,
last week
don't
that I
you?
realised that Harry was 6th in line.
But did you know Princess Anne had children?
No. I feel like I feel like the papers want a story about Harry, but they're begrudgingly accepting a story about Philip. It reminds me of David Beckham's
Peter.
metatarsal.
Yes.
Peter
PP.
Phillips. Peter Phillips, you're
PP.
right, not Philip. But I
Not
think
Philip
it feels a
Peters.
bit like they want to write a story about something else, but they're sort of making do with this.
Well, I was really happy to hear about Master Peter Phillips. 'Cause I hadn't heard of him for
course
such
you were.
a long time.
MPP.
You've been wondering how he was.
I'm glad that he isn't like trying to start a coup somewhere in West
Oh,
Africa
yeah,
or
they've
something.
got
It
that
just
in their
sounds
game,
like
haven't
he's.
they?
Do you know what MPP, as we call him now?
Yeah.
He's just doing his milk. What you up to, MPP? Just got the milk.
Flogging milk.
So we should say he does a milk advert in China. Now, this comes from a whole tradition, I think.
Yes.
There used to be a time when I first started going abroad, which would be in the 90s, you'd go like to Italy and you'd be watching the adverts on the Italian telly, and Dustin Hoffman would be advertising
they always have
cut your own hair combs.
It's often whiskey. They love a whiskey ad.
Yeah, and the theory is
Sean Connery on whiskey ads in Japan or something.
And they say, well, I'll do them in foreign countries, then no one will know. It's a very pre-internet kind of a concept.
Yes, you're right. It was almost like I can take the cheque without the consequences.
Yeah.
Not so anymore.
Now, MPP maybe is not online and still thinks that the one can keep this. Used to be a thing.
Good use of one.
Yeah. Well, it used to get
the lingo very well, hasn't he?
With MPP.
He's in character.
There was a period when footballers, when we first started getting footballers from overseas in their droves coming into British football, they would often do interviews with newspapers in their own country. I'm not talking about countries I'm talking like Spain. And they'd slag off the manager thinking, well, you'll never find out about this because this is in a different country. So I think MPP has been misled about the whole global village concept. We're on to you.
We know. We've even unearthed Daniel Day-Lewis, I remember, even did one of those.
No.
I'm sure he did.
Imagine the prep.
Oh, yeah.
3 years for the Schweppes advert.
Yeah, he lived as a Jersey cow for 3 years.
False eyelashes, the works.
Oh, God. It ruined. His bowels were ruined forever.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So we're talking about milk.
MPP. Oh,
MPP
yeah,
and milk.
Can I just say 15th in line to the throne? I know we've mentioned this already, but I was 6th in line at a pret-a-manger the other day, and I just turned on my heel and left, and I was hungry.
Funnel
So
queue.
imagine waiting your whole life and being 15th, knowing you're not going to get the gig.
Well, you might. It's
and
possible.
at least, no, but what I was saying is at least with the funnel queue, you have a chance of a very quick jumping possibly to 5th in the queue within minutes. Not so with the...
Well, you know when you go to a cafeteria?
No.
Oh, well...
Yes. Love it.
There's this thing that sometimes you think, well, I'm having stuff from the glass boxes. I'm having a sandwich. So the people getting the hot food, I'm going to go round them and go to the hot drinks. And sometimes they really don't like it. They don't like... But, that's cafeteria living.
Yeah.
And I wonder if Master Peter Phillips could have a bit of an example of that.
Good point.
I'm assuming now, I could be wrong, I haven't read anything about this. Is Harry still in line for the throne, or has he given that up?
No, he's given that up.
So everyone moves down, so presumably he's moved up a place.
Well, hang on, of course he's given it up. You can't, if you're not a royal, if you're stepping down from the royal family,
if he gets close, if a couple of them... If 2 or 3 of them went down suddenly, I think you'd find he might reassess.
This is a bit like when they took Tour de France's off Lance Armstrong, and then they realised the rest of the lineup were drug cheats as well, and so there's just some years that haven't won.
What about when you found out
Nobody's
about Lance
won.
Armstrong? It was a dark day for us, that.
Very upset. I believed his book.
Oh, no, you didn't. You were a denier.
He said he wasn't a drug cheat in his book, and I went, oh, OK, he's not.
Oh, no, darling, but the evidence doesn't look good
Turns
against
out
him.
he was a big fibber. He said
He
it was one
lied.
big lie. I still have to challenge that as well. It was loads of big lies every day, Lance.
I know.
Anyway, don't get me started.
Oh, Lance.
Just in case he's listening, I'm still furious with you.
Ow, have you seen the Master
His book,
Peter
it's not
Phillips
about the bike.
No,
He's right, it
okay,
wasn't
Nick,
about the bike.
You're going to have to let Lance go.
I interviewed...
He's done his time.
Was it Shania Twain who he...
Yes.
I interviewed her, and she's a lovely
Oh,
woman.
wasn't it Cheryl Crow?
What's
Who
Cheryl
dated?
Crow? They're basically
One
the
or the
same,
other.
same person.
She's in a pod.
Yeah.
And she was lovely, Cheryl Crow.
Yeah.
And when he finished with her, I put me off him.
Right.
So it's Lance Armstrong there. That's his reputation ruined.
For reasons you wouldn't have expected. Master Peter Phillips in the ad, which I've seen several times.
Oh, me too. It's compulsive viewing.
Shall we discuss? I've got a few things.
Please.
Here's the things I'd like to discuss.
Forensic.
I want to get forensic. Tell me where you want to go, Frank. I put forward to you butler with silver platter.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I think. You got to accept that the Chinese will have a certain view of royalty. Large gates open. There's that sort of music which I would call royal music. Gates open. There's the stately home, and then there's MPP.
Carriage.
I think there's a bit of this that's just give them what they want. They want to see him with a butler. Like, you didn't walk on last night and not do loads of good jokes. That's what we wanted, and then you did it.
Look, I'm all for... Jim Tavares the comedian plays a butler in some advert for, I think it's for Gold.
Right.
You know, when people now in daytime telly advertise Gold, I mean, like, you would think Gold was a fairly established thing that didn't need to push itself.
Yeah.
Relax, Gold.
Yeah.
It's all right. People buy rings and earrings. People sat round at the Gold place thinking, I don't know, I think we need to get ourselves out there a bit more.
Do you think they sit there and they think, oh, Diamond again? First they had the Bond film.
And
they've been everywhere.
It's a bit similar. An American goes, it's sort of reverse. It says, there's one thing we love in America, and that's British gold coins. And I thought, really?
I think they sit in the band meeting, Frank, and they think, look, the Tony Hadley song was a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
We need a bit of an update. It's a brilliant thing. I love this advert.
Do you?
I want to hog Master Peter Phillips.
Well, we need to
He's
discuss
grown
this.
up quite handsome as well, I think.
He's grown up. He's about 40, isn't he?
Well, last time I saw him, he was 8.
In a navy blazer with gold buttons,
Of course.
But you know,
his dad was quite. Which I'm getting big pressure from the producer. But his dad was quite handsome, so the apple doesn't fall very far, whatever it is.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Yes, so Master Peter Phillips, can I just say?
Yes.
He's in an advert where he starts off, I think, with a glass of milk, which he drinks. And then there's a Chinese voiceover, which I think says, like, he's a member of the royal family and all that. I can't understand the Chinese voiceover.
Yours has slid, hasn't it, your Chinese?
Is there such a language as Chinese?
No,
it's all Mandarin, Cantonese.
But do you know any Mandarin or Cantonese?
I know only one bit, which I probably shouldn't say because I think it's abusive to Westerners.
Oh, lovely.
I was taught it. I went out with a woman who grew up in Hong Kong, and she taught me this phrase. And then I heard someone use it in a Chinese restaurant. They think of me. But anyway,
yes.
It's the best. There is a moment of English in it when Master Peter speaks. And right at the end, I think they must have said to him, can you say something that sort of sums up the whole advert in a brief soundbite? And at the end, instead of saying, oh, milk, I love milk, best drink of the day, he says, this is what I drink.
Yeah.
And we thought, yes, we got that. Mm-hmm. Not only have we seen you drinking at least 2 glasses of it, but when he takes a bottle of milk out the fridge, the whole door of the fridge is crammed with other bottles of milk.
Yeah,
That's all he's got.
Through it. It's like he's got no shelf life, isn't it?
Can I just say, if he's got the butler in the stately home, Longleat didn't get permission, FYI.
Is that right?
That's all kicked off. It was a green screen. When he gets the butler, the Ferrero Rocher butler, who presumably says, your milk, sir.
Yeah.
Bottle on silver tray, not a good look. He then later is seen opening the fridge. Well, firstly, why didn't he call the butler?
Well, maybe they have a night off. They always have a night off.
No, he's got an addiction to the milk, and he's having to do it looked a bit furtive because it was too much milk.
Well, the amount of milk. I think there was 2 or 3 pieces of fruit in there, but everything else was milk.
And is he in the advert pretending to be a farmer? Is that one of the things that happens in
I think he's pretending
because he's sat on a farm at one point, isn't he? There's a bit that's outdoor when
they're bringing in the cow idea.
No, the cow. Right. We cut to the cows after we've seen the replica of the Queen's carriage. Bit rude.
Yeah.
And then we see him in the dinner jacket asking for the glass of milk.
Milk crazy.
Before the night out to line the stomach with the rugby friends, maybe.
Oh, that's a good idea, actually.
The last time he was in the public eye, he only drank milk then as well.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Of course, many of the Chinese are lactose intolerant, so it's quite insensitive.
Well, I've always thought one of the things that people used to say about the Chinese being healthier than Oslo is that they have very little dairy in their diet.
Mm-hmm.
But then, not only is Master Peter at it, but Kitty Spencer, who's the something of Princess Diana, the niece of Princess Diana, is also advertising Chinese milk.
But a rival.
Yeah, the rival.
Amazing.
She is.
What?
So she's William's cousin. Okay? Effectively.
I'd say this is a family dispute up there with Adidas and Puma, Rudolph and Adi Dazzler.
Yeah? Yeah, that was a good one. That's one of my favourite ever family disputes.
Oh, I love that fallout. What have you fallen out over this Christmas?
No,
it's a long story, Dad.
She's not royal, Kitty.
She's a lady. She's. Are you familiar with the work of Viscount Althorp, I believe you call it?
No.
Althorp. You do. You remember him?
No.
Viscount Althorp. It's hard to keep.
Diana's brother. You remember he famously gave a speech? Yes, that's him. This is his daughter.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
She's launching Satine Jersey milk. It's called.
Also Chinese, though, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's very big that you see. I believe milk is seen in China as because it was banned and it's not banned, but it was scarce during Mao's time.
Was it really?
Yeah, I
believe
believe
the cows
so.
were working rather than just eating grass and then being milked.
Yes,
is that
they were
right?
working.
So as a result, it's the law of scarcity. It's now seen as a symbol of modernity and progress.
Yeah.
Much like, and so I think schools are given free milk, much like us in the 70s or 80s.
I'm going to write a book about this change in Chinese society. I'm going to call it Chairman Moo.
Excellent work.
Well, she is described in the advert, and I know one can lose a little in the translation from a difficult, language that's very unfamiliar, like Chinese.
Yeah.
She's apparently described as British noble member.
Yeah.
British noble member is... it's strange.
It's vague.
But that's what Kitty is described as. She's a model. She does work.
Yes.
Elsewhere.
She's a model member of the royal family.
She says, she gave a quote, she went a bit further than I drink this, or whatever Master Peter Phillips said.
No, this is what I drink.
Yeah, this is what I drink.
Get it right. That was so different.
He delivered it in a sort of hostage situation.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Evidence of survival, day 15. Anyway, she said, the day of the royal family usually begins with a cup of milk or a cup of tea.
Yeah, no, I spoke on this show only last week that whenever cold fluids are put in a cup or a mug, that seems wrong. They have to be in a glass. And so the idea of the royal family having a cup of milk, no. That's the sort of thing the neighbour used to come round for when I was a kid. Can I borrow a cup of milk till tomorrow? Because they had no milk for their tea.
Also, did they all start their day with a cup of tea or milk? I don't know.
Tea, I can believe.
I can believe that.
Yeah, I think Princess Margaret maybe some different drinks.
Cup of milk, that was for me. That was for me the straw that broke the camel's back. Now I think the royal family lead a really different life from the rest of us.
Why?
Because they drink cups of milk on a morning, but everything else I was prepared to go along with. But
they shouldn't do that.
The cup of milk.
Can I say something controversial? Put it out there.
Go on.
I think
it's been fun doing this show.
I think adults that drink milk are rather creepy.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm creepy then.
I think a glass of milk, an adult male drinking a glass of milk, it's a bit Norman Bates. There,
Well,
I've
when
said
I
it.
did the Charles Atlas bodybuilding course, which I
No.
did,
We need a pause after that.
Okay.
Readers need to let this sink in.
I did a thing called the Charles Atlas bodybuilding course, which was one of these things where they send you, what do they call them? Correspondence courses.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
They send you these things, and the advert, he would say, you too can have a body like mine.
Yeah.
He was a very well-built man.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was 14, and I thought, well, I'd quite like a body like that. So I
Yeah.
set about this, a 3-month course, but many ways for life, but certainly 3 months intensive. And, well, I'm going to give you the details after this.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This thing of advertising stuff like milk and gold,
Yeah.
things that you wouldn't think would need advertising. I appreciate that the milk is like branded milk, so it's a company advertising. But they used to, when I was a kid, they would just advertise stuff like milk as milk. Just like the milk marketing. There was a thing, a pint per person per day, which wasn't favouring any company. It was literally an advert for milk.
I think it was state milk, though. Surely there was a state thing. Anyway, let's not get
It
into
might have been state milk, of course.
500 has asked, Frank, did the Charles Atlas plan include having to use the rather useless yet dangerous chest expander?
Most of it. I did have a bull worker as well later, which was another attempt to get rid of my terrible sunken chest. My pirate physique. Yes, I forgot the Charles Atlas. Well,
Yes.
one of the things.
Subtly prompting you using 500.
It was lovely work, that actually.
One
Al.
of the things
Quite
I was going to that you did was Milk Week. When you continued your exercises, this was the system that was called dynamic tension.
Yes.
But that
so
week,
cruel the way they con these people.
that week, you just had 8 pints of milk every day, and you didn't
8
eat
a day.
8 a day, and you didn't eat anything else.
Oh.
You lived on milk,
Yeah.
and this was going to give your metabolism the kickstart that it needed in the.
Did you try that?
Oh yeah, I did.
What
it.
effect did it have?
Well, I can't describe the effect that it had on my. Not on breakfast radio.
Yes, I think I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
but as you can see, it didn't have a big effect on my physique. The other thing was the air bath. When you take all your clothes off and lie naked, and you just lie naked, and then you get a towel and dry yourself off and get dressed again. So you bathed in air rather than water. I know.
Sorry, isn't that just lying down?
Yes,
Hang on,
lying
is this
down naked, which I
this a
wouldn't normally do.
parable?
Yeah.
And the other thing,
new clothes,
which I think I've mentioned before, is when I went to bed at night, what I had to do was put a couple of wet flannels in the fridge on a tea plate, as I recall. And then when I woke up the next morning, I'd take these flannels, I'd slam one on the small of my back and the other one on my private parts, and that was to kickstart me for the day.
Yeah. None of this is scientifically supported that I know of, guys. If
Well,
any of you are in training,
Charles Atlas. Well, this
we've
is
got
not-
any potential Rockies listening.
Sorry, he's coming in. He's got some hot gossip off the press about Charles Atlas.
No, Charles
this
Atlas.
news just in.
He,
Charles Atlas.
He was not an obscure. He was in every
No, he was
comic
a
and
high-profile.
magazine. I mean, lots of people did the dynamic tension.
Charles Atlas apologist.
I'm not saying he was one of the good guys, but he got a fabulous
He's no Lance
physique.
Armstrong.
It's a big
but
business, Charles Atlas. He had the world at his feet.
He did.
lovely. Heavy load, though.
What
Heavy
happened?
load he carried.
What happened to Charles Atlas, I wonder? I wonder if he was actually
it's a
called
shame.
Charles Atlas. He might have assumed that now. Anyway, maybe we'll do more Atlas chat. Let's call it Chatless next
Lovely.
week. Next week. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to us this morning. If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
This is Frank
Absolute Radio.